What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Millennial Button Mashers podcast. So we finally know a lot more about Pokemon Pokopia's Expansion Pass, and it's going to be coming relatively soon on August 5th. And honestly, after learning more and researching for this episode, I have to say I'm a little bit conflicted. Like a lot of you, I was completely obsessed with this game when it launched. It was basically the reason I bought a Switch 2. Matter of fact, it was the reason why I bought a Switch 2. And after putting way too many hours into it, I finally managed to step away. But now, they have more content, and they're pulling me right back in. The idea of exploring these brand new areas, diving underwater, and discovering new Pokemon sounds awesome. And at the same time, there are so many other huge games coming out over the course of the next couple months that I think it's fair to ask, is this expansion actually worth your money? So today, I want to answer the 5 questions I think every single Pokemon Pokopia player should ask before they buy this expansion pass. With that, let's jump in. All right, so the first question that's probably on everybody's mind is, what does this cost? When does it release? Which I already answered. And what's included? So the expansion pass costs roughly $35 and it's being released in 3 separate parts. Part 1 is getting released on August 5th, and it's called Bubbly Basin. The remaining 2 parts are going to be rolled out over the course of the next couple months, one coming later in 2026, and I believe the other one coming in early 2027. Meaning you're not just buying one expansion, you're buying content that's going to continue to roll out over time. Nintendo is also releasing free updates alongside this expansion pass, so not every new feature is going to be locked behind a paywall. So that begs the question, what are we getting for free? Even if you don't buy the expansion pass, you'll still receive some pretty meaningful additions to the game. The biggest one is that Ditto gains the ability to dive underwater once you've met a few requirements. You're going to need to visit Bleak Beach, and you're going to need to make sure it's upgraded to at least level 5. Plus, you're going to have the surf and jump abilities. Manaphy teaches the new diving skill, allowing everyone to be able to explore parts of the existing areas that were previously inaccessible. If you guys remember, Ditto would be able to go into the water, but once they were underwater for a certain amount of time, they would have to come back up to the surface and get air. And what's really cool about this free update is it's actually pretty generous because it's allowing more exploration, and I think that's probably one of the strongest parts of Pokopia. So while paying players do get brand new content, everyone gets a reason to jump back into the game. Then that begs the question, what do you get with the expansion pass? And I really wanted to do some research here because personally, I'm on the fence about getting this as well. But this is where most of the new content lives. So the headline feature is an entirely new biome called Bubbly Basin. Along with this comes underwater farming, including watermelons, new furniture, additional cooking recipes and smoothies, more missions, more Pokemon to discover, and also some underwater building letting you create floating homes and structures beneath the ocean. But probably my favorite addition that I realized was the deep sea exploration. So unlike the brighter underwater sections, the deep ocean is almost completely dark. You'll have to place glowing coral throughout the environment to light your way, almost like placing torches while exploring caves or dungeons in Minecraft. That mechanic alone sounds like it could make exploration feel completely different from the base game. And yes, you also get some Ditto wallpaper. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's incredibly excited about that. It's not me, but, teach their own. So question 4, you probably are asking, so Dylan, this is part 1, what about parts 2 and 3? Nintendo has shared a little bit more about what's coming later, but part 2 focuses largely on Pokemon accessories, things like hats, bow ties, and other cosmetic items. Personally, this is where my excitement drops off, I'll be honest. Cosmetics are fun, but they're not something that makes me want to spend more money on a game. Even more disappointing is that Nintendo has already confirmed part 2 won't introduce a brand new town. Thankfully, though, Part 3 is expected to include a completely new town, which is much more exciting. Hopefully they have a few surprises that they haven't released yet, because right now, Part 2 definitely feels like the weakest part of this pass. Then that begs the question as well, if you don't want Part 2, can you buy each of these individually? Unfortunately, no. You can't purchase the expansions individually. If you're only interested in Bubbly Basin and the new town coming later, you're still going to be required to buy the entire expansion pass. Personally, I think that's a little disappointing. I understand why Nintendo packaged everything together, but it would have been nice to give players the option to skip the cosmetic-focused content if that's not what they're interested in. Nintendo, please do this in the future. So then that begs the question, is this worth it? Honestly, I don't think there's one single answer to this. If Pokopia has become your comfort game, you've already put dozens of hours into it, and you're just looking for more reasons to keep playing, then yeah, of course, I think you'll probably get your money's worth. But if you're somebody who's trying to stretch your gaming budget over the next couple of months, I'd probably wait. August and September are absolutely packed with games. We've got titles like Beast of Reincarnation, Control Resonant, Marvel's Wolverine, and several others competing for your time and, frankly, your wallet. Most of those games are going to cost around $70 each. And in comparison, $35 isn't outrageous, but it's still another purchase you have to justify. After researching everything for this episode, I'm honestly not sure I'm going to be diving in on day one. I still think the expansion pass does look fun. I just don't know if it looks like $35 on release fun. Maybe Nintendo has a few surprises awaiting for us. We'll see. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you picking up the expansion pass on launch day? Have you already purchased it? Or are you planning to wait and see how much content is actually included before jumping in? Let me know down in the comments because I'm genuinely curious where everyone lands on this one. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with another gamer who might enjoy these conversations. My goal with this channel has always been to create a place where we can get excited about games, have honest discussions, and maybe bring a little positivity to gaming without all the constant doom and gloom. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys next week. Until then, stay safe, stay gaming.